Your brand is not broken. Your efforts are not futile. You are just simply looking like everybody else. A lot of times people don't realize and what separates people whose businesses and brands are converting versus the ones that don't convert. Let me break this down to you and how you can make better choices when it comes to your approach and your thought process behind creating and building your own brand and posting content. And the truth is, a lot of the times, especially in today's world, we are all used to reruns. We're all used to remaking the same movies and hearing the same regurgitated nonsense from different people at different times. And a lot of that has led us to the point we are now where nothing feels authentic and nothing feels original. And so in this state that we are in, of really lacking originality and authenticity, there's so many creators and so many people who want to create that feel the urge to not necessarily just get inspiration, but they feel the urge to copy and to create from someone else's point of view of what the content that they're creating should look like. And let me tell you, that is probably one of the worst things that you can do as a content creator and on your journey. Please, 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 if you're watching this, stop trying to sound like the next person. Stop trying to sound like everyone in your industry. Stop trying to be exact carbon copies of every single person on social media who's saying the exact same thing or regurgitating the same thing that the other person has just said. And this video is really about how you can find your voice in a sea of copycats who probably will remake this entire video as well. Anyways, so let me tell you about generic messaging and the difference between something that is generic versus something that is store-bought. Now, there's no issue with something that is quote unquote called no frills content, which is something that is timeless, something that can not be re-authenticated. The difference between having generic content and content that we want to feel like a luxurious piece of valuable content to consume is that the generic messaging that you're going to get is really about not being able to target your audience. Let's say, for example, you have an entrepreneur who wants to work one-on-one with people and they're not sharing their story, but they're posting. And the one thing that's going to be difference between someone who is in that position and someone who is already successful, more than likely is going to be their ability to storytell and to not necessarily just rely on this is how I helped so and so with this, or this is how I empower, this is what I do. How can you have a authenticity when you have generic messaging? Those two things really don't align. And what it means is, if your own personal messaging is super identical to the next person, it's not going to reach through to the audience that you would like for it to. How do you break through the noise? That's the main thing. And truth be told, when everyone stands out, when everybody sounds the same, when everybody's posting the same, it becomes almost easier to stand out, actually. It becomes easier to stand out because of authenticity and because you actually have the tenacity, you have the courage to sound different than everyone else, or to actually bring your own twist to things. That's going to really stand out, especially in today's world. And I'm going to tell you guys my own personal story of being the person who has actually been the person with the generic messaging, who's been the person who has been posting maybe like a UGC content creator, as opposed to someone who's posting like someone who wants to actually be influential. And it's not to hate or nor to rag on or put anyone else down on their journey, but I can only tell you from my own journey and the fact that my messaging in the past has not been clear to a person who would just come and click on my page at that time. My messaging wasn't clear. My messaging was posting about, this and self-care, then posting about something totally else. But then again, no one knows who you are. So how can they resonate with the content that you've already posted without having anything to attract them in, to show them who you are, and to nurture that relationship that you're building with your audience? When you think of your favorite content creator and why you watch them why their videos were so engaging. For example, I'm going to take it all the way back to 2011. One of my biggest content creators on YouTube, PvP, Girlfriend Boys versus Boyfriend, Jesse and Gina. We're going to take them for example and why their channel did so well. The reason why Jesse and Gina's videos used to blow up is because everyone knew them as a couple, and they knew that they were from New Jersey, and that they did daily vlogs, and they also did prank videos. So just even that as like a baseline, and then them being able to tell their story down the road, and to see them pranking themselves. When you see the first video, which is gonna be attracting, would have been like probably like a viral prank video that they did, probably made it on the news. That would be your first interaction with them, with their brand. And then the second interaction you would have had would have probably more than likely been another video or a vlog where you're able to understand and you were able to learn more about them and more about what they built and why people would have wanted to watch their videos. So with that, understanding that content not only necessarily attracts people to watching and for virality, but it also nurtures the relationship between the person watching the video and the client, business, whatever it is down the road. So with that being said, one of the reasons why you look at that, why certain people have had success on platforms, that you really understand that it is necessarily a science behind it, but it's super simple, and that's just human interaction. It's kind of like making a friend, for example, or making something make sense. But for example, when you have a channel that will happen after having authentic content creators like that, what did they spin off from? Started into, whole families and, people having, kids going into making daily vlogs. And that's what really spun things off. And now you can see, thousands of people making similar content to their original content. That's probably, I don't even know if it's all on internet. But yes, shout out to Jesse and Gina. And they literally started the trend of what I believe to be family vlogging. And I don't think that there would have been as many family vloggers as we have now who are daily vlogging their entire life and their routine if it wasn't for those original OG YouTube vlogs. So definitely about the aspect of what it means to have the authenticity, and then also going from there. So the whole thing about being a copycat is, it is a diagnosis, truly is. Like, why are you copying from this one, from that one? But the truth is, inspiration, people get inspired, but having authenticity that goes along with that is what makes and sets a person apart from that. It's okay to be inspired, but it is not great and authentic to be be a copycat, or to just replicate what someone else is saying or doing. And so we kind of have this whole type of thing of like buzzword soup, and people just recreating the same talking points, or verbatim actually copying what someone else is posting. And that's been like a reoccurring theme on especially TikTok. That's been all I've been seeing is like content creators, concepts, business ideas just being recreated by the similar, content creators with, their own twist to it. And I don't know what the antidote is to that, but the other antidote will always go back to what I've been speaking about beforehand. And I don't know if you guys want to call me like a spiritual business guide, whatever you want to call me in terms of how I really relay it. But I'm going to tell you guys, like, authenticity and uniqueness and tapping into what you need to be unique about, what is your unique aspect, is going to set you apart from those other content creators who are going on the route of trying to be like the OG, but they either don't know how to, or they just want to straight up copy someone else. And that's not something that I would ever encourage doing, but making sure that your own content is unique to yourself, really tapping into what you think your ideal audience is going to be. Who is your audience? Who are you making these videos for? Why are you making it for them? And so really tapping into those aspects, as well as creating not necessarily the highest quality of content. It doesn't have to be edited for 36 hours or however long you want to edit the video for, but it does have to be quality. I really recommend that you guys, take your videos on the latest or whatever iPhone that you've had that's been created in the past, hopefully like 6 years or so. If you even just have a webcam, or something, whatever we have. Everybody who's watching this usually has access to one those things. If you have access to a camera and Wi-Fi, you can start creating content. That's basically it. What is your uniqueness? That's your focus on. What is your own uniqueness? What is your audience desiring? And how can you authentically show up as a content creator who has your strategy set and is making and posting that content and nurturing what they already have, which is an audience who's probably interested in what it is that you're creating and your uniqueness, really. So that really just wraps up, I guess, what I wanted to say about why, your branding is probably failing, why and how that you can fix it, and really tapping into those authentic parts of yourself as opposed to looking for them from an outside source. And so if you are actually really interested in understanding about your own authentic vibe and why it's so important to build authentic branding, especially in today's age where people are literally craving real authentic branding, real authentic people, content, creations, art. This is what this is. And so being able to really tap into that and give your audience what it is that they're needing. They're literally needing it. So if you're ready to tap into that and give your audience that, I really recommend you guys check out my ebook on branding and what it means to have and be a brand strategist and what that looks like in today's world. So make sure you guys check out my guide on that. It is going to be in the link in the bio. I'm coming out with a bunch of different ebooks and offerings, so make sure you guys are around to read them. I have a lot of free ones and I also have a lot of ones that are really great for helping you to learn more about what it means to actually start a brand, what it means to grow on social media. And I can tell you guys, when you start following the blueprints, when you start tapping into what makes you authentic and what your audience is really liking, you will definitely see a change with the right amount of effort and action taken in those places. So with that being said, I really want you guys to focus in on, your own uniqueness, your audience, and providing that value each step of the way. Yes, guys, so please stop hiding with the same old jargon, the same old notions, the same old things as everyone else, and tap into what makes you unique. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye.